Hebrews, Hebrews. This is the Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, the 20th of May, 2023. The title, the topic of discussion is the wounds of colonialism need to be addressed. Okay. So with that being said, I'm asking you to go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. There's a lot of information given. And the videos will connect dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving on the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. And by that, I mean we only deal with the Tanakh, the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Hey, shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a Sabbath prayer, and read the Psalms, give you some current events, then we'll deal with some need to know information, then we'll go into our dialogue and comments, Q&A, and then we'll deal with the topic, which is the wounds of colonialism has to be addressed. Okay. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance from our captives. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this during our Sabbath day, thanking You for Your mercy and Your great power. We appreciate You, O Lord, for Your patience and guidance in these last days. And, O Lord, we thank You for awakening us to this great understanding of Your word. Okay, oh Lord, we see Your mighty hand in the world's affairs and how You are constructing Your people's deliverance, and we trust and rely upon Thee. And for this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of You to find You, O Lord, and to dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay, read the song. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalm 37. Say that the true state of the wicked is a psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. Okay, the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and in thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord. Wait patiently for Him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of an upright conversation. The sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man is better than the riches of many wicked, for the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the ways of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time. In the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall be consumed, in the smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful, and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, do good, dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land when the wicked are cut off. Though thou shalt see it, I have seen the wicked in great power, spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yet I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright. For the end of that man is peace, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Okay, so that was Psalms 37, the true state of the wicked. This is Psalm of David. Any comments on that? Okay, I want to start light on this. I was talking about it on several occasions. It came up about who's the Lord all talking to in the scriptures when he keep pertaining and referencing the wicked. You know, like I was saying, they said a narrative got you thinking that, you know, the wicked is the people that's sinning. You know, you got good and evil on the earth, yin and yang, and the ones that's sinning is the transgressors of the wicked. But the Most High is talking about another type of wickedness, which is wickedness from the core. I mean, they're not going to ever do right. And we know that some people that came from Lucifer, they twisted the story in the garden. And we know that Satan came in the garden for one reason, to get a seed line, and he cohabitated with Eve. So I want to shine a light on that right here, where it says 4 different times in this Psalm 37. It says in verse 22, for such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, right? So there's some people that's going to inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off, right? Then you go to 28, for the Lord loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints. So that's a certain group of people. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked, see that seed of the wicked, shall be cut off. There you go again. And then you go down to 38. But the transgressors, like I said before, this transgressors don't mean what they program you think it means. So it says, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. So we see right here, who is he talking about? He keep on saying these some people he got to cut off. So there's another understanding of that because he's saying there's some people that he got to cut them off. They ain't gonna never do the right. They wicked as hell. He got to cut them off. So when you go to chapter 10 of Genesis, right? I was showing you this over and over again. Let's not, a lot of people don't see it, but chapter 10 says, verses starting at verse 1, chapter 10, it says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japhet, and unto them were the sons born unto the flood. The sons of Japhet, Gomer, Magog, Midian, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus, sons of Gomer, Ashkenazi, Rephaim, Tomagog, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim. Kittim is the Romans. Dedan. These were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families. So my point is this: if you see in verse 2 that Japheth got a son called Tubal, and if you go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 16, you see Cain got a son called Tubal. So you understand these are the same people, right? And then you go to a prophecy that hasn't happened yet, which is in Ezekiel 38, right? And let me get it right quick. Ezekiel 38. Okay. Ezekiel 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, Magog, the chief prince of Meshach, Tubal. There you go again. So you got Tubal in Cain's lineage in Genesis 4:16. You got a Tubal in Genesis chapter 10, and then right here. And in every instance, he's just like he's saying right here, he's against these people. Verse 2, Son of man, he's talking to Ezekiel, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach, Tubal, and prophesy against them. So we see right here, these the people he's talking to. All through the scriptures, he against them. And they known today, we just gonna cut through the chase and let the rubber meet the road. He's talking to the Gentiles, which is the Europeans. You got to cut them off. And we see Psalms 37 alone 4 times. He's saying he got to cut them off. And we see right here in these scriptures, he against these people. The Greeks came out of Japhet and the Romans. The third beast is the Greeks. The fourth beast is the Romans. Okay, so something else going on that been covered over. Okay, so with that being said, any comments?
Yes, shalom. Magog, is that China again? What you say? That's China? So he's against Magog?
Gog and Magog is Russian China, yeah.
But that also include the Turks too.
I think the Turks is a separate people. They like a cut. They're cut off of the Gog and Magog. That's just like when you do your research.
And,
Which they got a Mongoloid people. They got Negroid and Caucasoid. The Mongoloid people all in is those same people. China, Japan, all those the same people. Well, those Genghis Khan in that group, they part of the Mongoloids. They the ones came over here to America, and through that or whatever kind of strait that is, it was a little connection on the land. They came to America. They intermingled with some black folks already here. They called the Folsom people, ancient black people that was already here in America. They intermingled with the Folsom people. That's how you get the Indian. The Indian
yes,
ain't no. So when you look at him, you see his hair, black hair, the black strong, stringy black hair. That's from the Mongoloid mixing with those people, Folsom people. How you get the red man, the Indian. But they, like I
Shalom.
say, the Mongoloid is part of Gentiles. China, Russia, all them people, Europeans, they all from Chafat.
Yes, sir. Thank
Right. So when you say Turkish, they are cut off of they're cut off in Gog and Magog. Yeah. Okay. So anybody else? Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna go to some current events.
Introducing Codex Total. Welcome to Asian Quick Take. I am Jacob. Recent developments indicate that ASEAN countries are actively seeking to reduce their reliance on the US dollar and strengthen local currency settlements through increased cooperation. After concluding his visit to China, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim mentioned that discussions had taken place with China regarding the establishment of the Asian Currency Fund and negotiations for local currency settlements. During a meeting in Indonesia, ASEAN finance ministers advocated for reducing dependence on major currencies and announced plans to expand local currency trading systems. These statements and actions demonstrate the ASEAN countries' pursuit of reduced reliance on the US dollar and their commitment to enhancing local currency settlements. Indonesia has taken the lead by initiating concrete measures to shift towards local currency settlements with countries such as China, Japan, Malaysia, and Thailand, with negotiations underway with South Korea. Publicly released data reveals that the total value of local currency transactions between Indonesia and these four countries has reached $950 million over the past 2 months, nearly doubling the previous figures, confirming the feasibility of these actions. These actions have garnered significant attention from the international community and media. It is widely believed that they reflect these countries' dissatisfaction with US dollar hegemony and their desire for local currency settlements and regional currency cooperation. Given the US dollar's dominant position in the global economy, any shifts in its usage can have substantial implications for international financial markets and the global economy. However, these actions by ASEAN countries may also yield positive impacts. By strengthening regional currency cooperation, these countries can enhance their financial stability and resilience against external risks. Simultaneously, promoting local currency settlements allows for reduced reliance on the US dollar, thereby improving their autonomy and creating better conditions for regional economic development. Bank Indonesia's governor, Peri Warjio, recently announced the policy objective of de-dollarization, indicating Indonesia's formal initiation and advancement of local currency settlement plans. These actions occurred following a meeting of ASEAN finance ministers in Indonesia, where the slogan of reducing dependence on major currencies was put forward. Previously, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim had mentioned that Malaysia was in discussions with China regarding the establishment of the Asian Currency Fund and negotiations for local currency settlements. These actions demonstrate that Southeast Asian countries are actively seeking to reduce their reliance on the US dollar and gradually shifting their focus towards local currency settlements. Why are these countries pursuing de-dollarization? Andreas Moro, chief economist at Mandiri Bank Indonesia, stated that in the current situation, excessive reliance on the US dollar would result in economic impact if the dollar is subject to shocks, which is the main reason behind these actions. Peri Warjio expressed the desire to reduce reliance on the US dollar due to the economic impact that countries face when the dollar is subject to shocks. This reflects a significant decrease in trust in the dollar, with the belief that the currency is no longer safe. This may be attributed to the consequences of the US's interest rate hikes, debt policies, and unilateral sanctions on countries like Russia, which have greatly undermined the credibility of the dollar.
So we see right here from this conversation that all the nations, everybody knows that eventually this dollar gonna go down, and they're trying to get away from it, and everything that escalated, just over the last couple of weeks. They know something. They don't want to be in a position when it do happen that it's going to affect their economy. So everybody's, it's like they in a foot race to get away from the dollar.
Shalom.
Okay.
If I could ask, yes, sir. I went to the bank. I got $1.50 in there, and I asked the lady, "What should I be doing with my money since the, the dollar is collapsing? Should I put
Right.
it under the mattress? What should we be doing in the interim with whatever low finances we have?"
Well, yeah, I would say definitely I wouldn't have it in the bank. I'd have it somewhere. I mean, I would get a safe or something, and I keep it in my in my own possession, and then when the time comes, because it's going to be a time when it's going to when you see it present itself exactly what's happening, and you can change it, go to the and change it, whatever currency you need to change it to, or you can go get it out and just turn it into gold, buy gold, buy inklets or whatever, and keep the gold in your safe. Keep a little money, but keep everything. Most predominantly, if you have a substantial amount of money, I would keep it. I would convert it into gold, because you're gonna never get away from gold. Gold is actually the exchange that from ancient times. So I would keep most of my money in gold or silver. Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah.
I was listening to that and just pulled it up. The U.S. is in $31 trillion debt to other countries, mainly Japan. It was China at first, but now it's Japan in liquid assets.
Right. Exactly. So like I just read, I was just reading about Gog and Magog. Notice that they haven't happened yet. So that's China. That's China. So you don't want to be, they come into the power. We see them coming into power, but we see what their end gonna be. But my point is that he addressing them, and he got a problem with them. So that's who Gog and Magog is. And a lot of that's not being factored or being rightly valued.
Shalom. So by China buying up the ports, buying things, like they went into Africa and they said they can make 20,000 homes in 3 days. They're trying to take over, but yet they said they're not going to ask for the money back, which the money is not worth coming back, because I guess, if they're dealing with the currency now, so they're not going to ask for that back because they won't be able to pay back the money. They have land over here in the United States, or they, like the United States owe them. But if the dollar drops to 1 point, nothing. So what kind of hold they have on it? Do they own the United States? Because they can't pay it back in U.S. dollars. So um, that's a question. How can they, how the paying back or the debt ceiling rises or whatever they're going to do if the dollar is not worth anything?
Well, when you go back to the creation of money itself, the currency and all that, these people been, like I was saying, these people are wicked. Most High says to not loan money to other people. Usually, he has a problem. He hate usury. These people have built the whole system that we're dealing with is based off a banking system, which goes against the principles of the Most High. A bank is create money and wealth through usury. So these people they're not dealing with money and merchandise and all that the way the Most High said do it. They're doing it in a wicked way. So they're not like I said, they're not operating the way an Israelite or a person that come from Adam's descendants or Jacob descendants, they're not operating like that. That's why we where we at and they where they at. They're not considering you know what I'm saying? They're not considering Most High in their actions and what they do.
Shalom. Yeah, like it says, be the lender, not the borrower.
Right.
So that's what China's doing. He's lending the money out and
But
not
no,
asking for
right,
money back. Hey.
right. He have no the thing about what China and Pete game on is they then accumulated so much money and they warned they trying to get rid of America. They using the money as a crutch to they don't expecting nothing back. It's like a port, one of those ports in those different countries. The people don't want to get a port up, but they need money. So China willing to give them the amount of money way more worth than what it is, knowing they're not gonna pay it back. They ain't looking to get the money back. They looking to acquire the port. And the way to do it is to come with the money. That's their strength. So they buying up all this stuff. That's what they call a debt trap. They're not looking to get the money back. They're looking to possess what you got without getting the money back. Oh, yeah. So that's how they operate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So this here I thought it was pretty interesting. We know that and this pretty much across the board with these people. They know, it's been no breaking their understanding, no breaking their knowledge, but they altered our understanding. So we know that Hitler it's an article, it's a documentary out there where Hitler knew who we were. He knew the circumstances around the transatlantic slave trade, who the people was. He knew all that. So we see now right here, this article I got now, Nixon knew it. I want to play it.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the channel. Boker Tov, Boker Tov. For those of you who are unaware with that terminology, that is Ivory or Hebrew for good morning. We are trying to stray away from the good morning because ain't nobody mourning this morning over here, you know. Of course, to those who stated something about that in the comment section the other day, we are fully aware, which is why we spelled it a certain way. They are spelled differently, but we spoke about how the English language is loaded with curses. We brought that point out when we were talking about this the other day. But anyway, y'all, we're going to get into a very, very interesting topic today. First of all, I would like to thank Sister Monica for sharing this information with me. The link that she shared with me was on another website that everything was fine, but I decided that I wanted to do a little bit more research. And the reason was I wanted to see where the website that Sister Monica sent me, I wanted to see where they got the information from. Okay, I wanted to see where they got the information from. To the person asking the question about how do you spell the word, are you referring to Boker Tov? Or are you referring to the statement I made about good morning? But anyway, I'm going to move on here. I don't plan on. Okay, Boker Tov. Someone dropped it in the chat. It looks like Stephen Coleman dropped it. So if you scroll up, LaRonda, you will see that
um, up in the chat area there. But anyway, let's get into this topic here. Now, it's already been said and known by many of us that the world knows exactly who we are. The world knows exactly who we are. Now, every last individual may not know, but in general, those that matter do know. Okay, I look at President Nixon, an old picture of him right here on the screen there. Folk knew exactly who they were dealing with. Oh my goodness. So there's a document, like I said, the original website link that was sent to me, everything looked fine. I just wanted to confirm where that website had gotten the information from, and so I was able to unearth it on the government's website directly. That's what I'm going to be sharing with you. President Nixon, referring to Black African people as the wandering Jews. Now, of course, we all know that we don't call ourselves Jews, but we call ourselves descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel. But the fact that this president from the mid-1900s referred to us as wandering Jews is very telling that they know exactly who we are, which is why there has been all of these efforts geared towards doing certain things, right? I want to show you all this document. I'm going to put it on the screen so that you can see that this is from the government's website, okay? I'm going to put it on the screen here. Now, this is information that is, first of all, before I get into this any deeper, I'm going to share this and I want you all to share it as well. Even if you watch it afterward, you can still share this information because I think it's very important that our people begin to know and understand that there has been a plan against us to keep us in the dark. It was actually prophesied. The scripture said that these other nations joined together. They were confederate one with another. They were all confederate one with another. And they said, let us cut them off from being a people, that the name of Israel will no longer be in their remembrance. In other words, so they wouldn't even remember who they were and are. Let us cut them off from being a people. Okay, thank you to Christopher for posting the reference to that scripture in the chat here. Okay. I am going to pull that up before going to the website so that you all can see that. I love it when our people are in the chat, they're on top of those kind of things. And, you know, for the brother for sharing that, I very much appreciate that. This is some good stuff for our people to know that there was a plan. There was a plan, y'all. There was a plot. And guess what? It was a worldwide plot. A worldwide plot. Right? So here we go. I'm going to show you all that scripture really quick here. Okay. It's in Psalms 83. And it says, keep not thou silence, O Yah. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Yah. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Listen to this. They have taken crafty counsel against.
So that goes back to what I was just showing, what I was just breaking down. So many people don't know. First of all, they don't know that JC is a fraud, and then they're trying to make that work, but they don't realize who he's talking to, who he's talking about. So right here, what you read in Psalms 83, he talking to the exact same people, these Gentiles. They done came together and they said, let's cut Israel off from being a nation. But nobody focusing on that, first of all, because they've been brainwashed to think that J-Fat is Noah's son, but he ain't.
Against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no longer be in remembrance. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Ain't that something? It says they, meaning many of these nations, have consulted together with one consent. They all were in agreement, but that's what that means. They are confederate people. That is a lot of people that were a part of this conspiracy to cut us off from being a people. That was the conspiracy, y'all. To cut us off from being a people. That the name of Israel would no longer be in our remembrance. Y'all hear what I'm saying? That's right, Patty. It sounds like the whole world. That's why I say they all in on it. They know what they're doing. This is why there is such an effort to keep us sinning, because when you look in the Bible, it actually shows you how even Balaam and Balak, how the story of Balaam and Balak, how they said, look, I can't, he said, I can't curse these people. He said, the only way I can curse them is if I can get them to sin against the Most High. If I can get them to sin against the Most High, then I can curse them. So they stay trying to keep us in sin. Y'all hear that? They stay trying to keep us in sin. Because they know if they can keep our people in sin, that then curses can come upon us.
Okay, so we see right there, she mentioned that President Nixon referred to us in the context of saying the wandering Jews, right? So I want to break that down first. If you go back to Cain, when he cursed Cain, that's what he did with Cain descendants. He said they're going to go from place to place, taking people's stuff because the earth no longer has no relationship with him. He took the melanin from Cain. The earth itself is full of melanin. The earth has what they call ether, which is melanin. So notice that he made Adam a tiller of ground. Adam was connected to the earth. So he took it away from Cain and turned Cain into a wanderer. Well, that's what he did to us in Daniel. When Gabriel came to Daniel and told him the Most High is indignation that came through a fool. You finna shut this place down. So by him shutting down Jerusalem and scattering the Israelites, bringing the Gentiles there, they turned us into a people, wandering people. We all over the place. So he's saying Jew, knowing that they concocted that word Jew, we Israelites. So they referring to us as the wandering people, the people who wandering Israelites. So I don't know if anybody familiar with the movie Shaka Zulu, that's what they were saying about the Zulu people, and when they was bringing us doing the transatlantic slave trade on the movie, they said that when those Africans heard the name Shaka Zulu, he said that these were the wandering Jews that, that God had cast them out. They was a wandering Jew. I thought that was kind of ironic when I heard that. So, anybody got any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about this?
Yes, sir, I have. And just like today, which has been coming to the light here lately with other people in places, saying certain things about black people or whatever is being recorded and leaked and put out. But this about Nixon comes out years later after he has said that about us, but now is coming forth more quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
where you have mayors or senators or congressmen in certain uh, states saying, things about blacks, we can see now that it's coming forth much quicker, right? And on the language thing, Brother Leonard, can you expound on that a little bit more? I see that it's happening a lot where the Hebrew Israelites are saying that they're changing their language because the American words mean certain things, so we're not going to say that anymore. But in Genesis, I want to say 10 or 11, maybe chapter, um, where it talks about the chapter 11, the Tower of Babel,
Right.
where it says that verse 6, and the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and they're confounded their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So, and so forth. They can read on to verse 9, but that was part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Our language is going to be taken away from us, and still we are picking up a language that we don't understand. So you're trusting someone else to teach you what you think is your language.
Right. But that's what I mean about the other, not to bring up the fact about transgression. What it actually means, transgression. Well, same thing with the language. You go back to the New Testament when they talk about speaking in tongues, and then when you understand what was actually being conveyed and what that means and what you see people doing, that in itself let you know it's a dead calendar line. So when he says speaking in tongues, have an interpreter there. When the Holy Ghost come on a person, they start talking, speaking in tongues, saying it's the language of heaven. All that means is if I'm around a whole bunch of Mexicans and they speak in Mexican, I don't know what Mexican is. So I don't know how to speak Mexican, or I'm not a bunch of Chinese, and I don't know how to speak Chinese. That's what they talk about speaking in tongues. It's not what they got going on in the church when people go to standing there hollering about speaking in tongues, like they want people in the church to think that they spirit of God on them. But that's not even what that even means. It's not what that means. It means like when it actually happened in the book of Acts, they're saying that it was men there from all different walks of life, different nationalities, and they start talking in tongues, in their tongue. You can understand there ain't no secret language, no heavenly language. It's just that they language you don't understand. You looking crazy because unless there's somebody there in that language to break it down what it means to you, what they saying. That's what that means. So go back to what you said about the Tower of Babel. These angels, long before the Most High came to the earth and made the earth, you got heaven. Well, it's a language in heaven, Hebrew. So when when he created the heavens and the earth, when Michael came down in the garden talking to Adam, he talking in Hebrew. So that was the only language on the earth. The angels brought it here. So at the Tower of Babel, he took that away. Just like right now, he took it away. So he took that language away. And so he separated the earth with these, which is a lot of people don't know. He separated the earth, divided the earth up in the 70 lots. Each angel got a lot, got a lot. So they dealing with that angel, whatever he's saying, whatever he's speaking in. That's how the languages came from the angels. So Michael got a lot. That's where the land of Canaan is. That's the area he got. Mount Zion in that area, that region.
Okay.
So that's what he's talking about. It was one language before the Tower of Babel, and that was Hebrew that the angels brought down here. Okay.
Okay. So that explains verse 9 then. Yeah.
What
What
it
you
say?
just said. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord
Right,
did there confound the language
right,
of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
right, exactly.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they want you to think there's something else going on. Like I said, they want you to think and it's them. They doing the most. Like I said, melanin, lack of melanin. And then not only in that same situation at the Tower of Babel, he said the imagination of men minds. They use their imagination. They come with all this, like I said, with this speaking in tongues. That's the imagination of men mind. That ain't got nothing to do with the creating the angels and Abraham. You don't see them talking in no tongues. All that
Right.
shit was concocted. Yeah,
And you see a lot of Hebrew, so-called Hebrew Israelites. I don't know if anybody else have noticed that, but with Brother Leonard saying that is when they start out a video,
right,
they start speaking in tongue,
right,
and then a go into, you know what I'm saying?
right, exactly.
Yes, I've seen that.
Have you
Mhm.
seen that before? And that just really
Yes.
just caught my
Yes.
attention when he said that, speaking in tongue, like, you know what I'm saying? You
Right,
still incorporating the religion, the church, or whatever into
right,
your teachings, which is not surprising because they always end up going to the New Testament, breaking down scriptures. You know, they do both
right,
Old and New Testament, but when they start out their videos, they start out speaking in tongue. Like, what are
right,
you saying?
right.
Right.
Shalom.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, in that time of the Tower of Babylon being uh, built, now the Hebrews were not there to help them build this tower, so they kept their language, and the people or the ones that were there, that's the ones whose language split up because, or was the Hebrews there also?
Yeah. It's a when you got to go back to even every time you're dealing with the Creator, you got to apply Jeremiah chapter 25 when he's two baskets of figs, the Israelites, and like when he come back, it's a remnant he coming to get. He ain't coming to get all the Israelites. All of them don't possess the spirit of the Most High. That's what he mean by the tender plant. So at the Tower of Babel, you had Eber had two sons. Uh, he had
Right.
Joktan and
Yeah.
Peleg. And if you go and read it, Joktan's descendants ended up at the Tower of Babel. We were Most High following Peleg lineage. That's what Abraham came out of. So Peleg lineage, lineage. Let's look at it. You go to Genesis chapter 10. You're gonna see in Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10, go to verse 21. You got verse 21, 10 and 21.
Got it.
So this said sons of Shem. This from Adam's descendants, right? Uh Under Shem, also the father of the children of Eber. Eber the one had two sons. The brother of Japhet, the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Abram. See that? And the children of Aram, Uz, keep on listening on 9, get down to 25. And under Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, and for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother name was Joktan. So the earth was divided by those 70 angels I told you about. So 26, Joktan begot Abram, and then you keep on going down to uh 30. And their dwelling was from Misha as goes unto Sephir unto the mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. Notice they went to the east. 32. These are the families of the sons of Noah after their generation in their nations. By these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. Then chapter 11, the Tower of Babel. The whole earth was one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east. Who is this? This over here, verse 30. Joktan descendants. See, it tell you they went to the mount of the east, they journeyed to the east. So they ended up just like Abraham and Lot. Abraham and Lot had to separate. Lot went to the land of Canaan. I mean, Abraham went to the land of Canaan. Lot went over to Sodom and Gomorrah. Same thing right here. Joktan went to Shinar, where these people at. But Peleg, they went somewhere else. Same with when Nebuchadnezzar came. Nebuchadnezzar left the wicked fig there. He took the righteous fig to Babylon. And you have to be conscious of that. So we saw right here in 10 and 21, sons of Shem. Then you keep going, and you'll see there's another group of Shem descendants. Yeah, chapter 11, verse 10. You got chapter 11 and 10?
Yes, sir. Those are the 7 generations, starting from Adam to Enoch, and then from Enoch to Abram.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So go to chapter 11, verse 10.
Yes, sir.
See, this the other set. This other set of the Shem. See, in chapter 10, verse 21, that's the sons of Shem. And then you got another group right here in chapter 11. The first said Joktan went to the Tower of Babel. But the second said right here, chapter 11, verse 10, these are the generations of Shem. And was 100 years old and begot Araphat 2 years after the flood. Shem lived after he begot Araphat 500 years, and he begot sons and daughters. Araphat lived after he lived 5 and 30 years and begot Shelah. And Araphat lived after he begot Shelah 400 years, 403 years and begot sons and daughters. And Shelah, and I'm not butchering these names. And Shelah lived 30 years and begot Eber. And then Eber the one had 2 sons. And Shelah lived after he begot Eber 403 years and he begot sons and daughters. And then Eber lived 400 years, 430 years and he begot Peleg. See that? Over there in chapter 10, verse 21, you're dealing with Joktan. Joktan ended up at the Tower of Babel with Nimrod. But in chapter 11, verse 10, it's Shem. This is where Abraham came out of. They over in Mesopotamia.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So you have to always be conscious of that. And so if you go back to Genesis chapter 10 too, shine a light on something else right quick. So you go to Genesis chapter 10 and you look at I showed you this before, chapter 12, chapter 10, verse 11 says, out of the land went forth Asher. See that? That's Israelites. I mean Hebrews. Asher and builded Nineveh. And the city of, so you see right here, from 12 all the way to 20, these were the giants at, Mesorim and all that. So they're around them. But the key to it is, this where the Most High sent Jonah to Nineveh. He said Jonah to Nineveh. So now you can see how far the story of Jonah is out of context.
Yes, sir.
See that? Chapter 11. Out of the land went forth Asher, built Nineveh. Then and the city of Reba. Now, this is the point I want to make too. 12. And Rezin between Nineveh and Caleb is the same as that great city. What great city? That's this great city they're dealing with in the Revelations.
Okay.
Come on. But yeah, just so that's what I'm saying. So when you see somebody, like I said, standing up in the church out speaking in tongues, that's a nut bucket. It's time to get up. It's time to go. You know, it's time to leave.
Okay.
When you have this type of knowledge, it's time to go. Ain't no spirit of God in there. That's a nut bucket. Because that ain't what that means. Okay? Yeah. So anyway, anybody got any more comments? Okay, so I want to shine a light on this. I've been telling people about the origins of Christianity. It started when understand who these people are, the Greeks and the Romans, and they from Cain's descendants. So when the Greeks, we read in Daniel, when Alexander, Gabriel came to Alexander and came to Daniel and told him, that the Greeks was coming. Then he told them the first king was Alexander and all that. Well, they came on the scene. They had their own area where they was at up until that point. Then they came into our land and our region. Greeks came. So they ended up they wicked as hell. You got to remember that. Ain't nothing good about that. So they ended up in Egypt. So what I'm gonna do is play this to show you how Serapis came on the scene. It's no difference than Serapis and Jesus. Jesus is Serapis. Serapis is Horus. Jesus is Horus. When you understand all that. So Jesus is Serapis. But this is the beginning of Christianity. When the Greeks showed up. Like he said, what they imagined at the Tower of Babel. What they imagine in their mind. Okay? They lack in melanin. Okay, so check this out. Let me set this up. Okay. Okay.
The Ptolemies didn't get the respect that the Nasubiti got. The Nasubiti was like a Netzer-like figure. The Ptolemy was the king, without his military, there was nobody listening to him. And nobody came in the multitudes to listen to him, okay? So he didn't get the same respect. So he
Can anyone hear the video?
No.
Can you hear it?
No.
It was
No.
the head of the pantheon.
No, son.
It's in and
And so
out.
the king now was him. Those followers, I think Christianity developed rappers.
Okay. So I was trying to get you to see while he was talking, but I'm just gonna let it play. Picture with 1,000 words.
So we have to back up a little bit to deal with Serapis. So when the Greeks took over, the Ptolemies didn't get the respect that the Nasubiti got. The Nasubiti was like a Netzer-like figure. The Ptolemy was the king, without his military, there was nobody listening to him. And nobody came in the multitudes to listen to him, okay? So he didn't get the same type of respect. So he commissioned the priest in ancient Kemet to develop and make him godlike. And so what they did is they took Zeus, they took Asar and Haru, and they mixed it all together with a European face, and they created this new person called Serapis. And Serapis was like their new god. He was the head of the pantheon. And so the king now was under the guise and the rulership of Serapis. And so that became the prototype. Those followers became Coptics.
Coptics, not
So I want you to understand. So Coptic Christianity came out of this development of Serapis, a amalgamation of the Greek, Roman, and African emperors all mixed into one divinity.
And Serapis then became the prototype later for Jesus. Okay, so now, when we're creating Serapis, remember they took existing things that are...
Like I was saying, that's why he white. You know, and now, like I was saying about the nut bucket side of it, now they didn't came and made him black. But this the origins of him. He white because the person that wanted it, that got them to make the image is white. That's why he white.
Already took. So Zeus, now you understand, they took Zeus was the head of the pantheon, right? But Zeus comes from Ethiopia and has to go back to Ethiopia and be charged every year. They have a big festival. Now that's kind of funny. A god from your nation has to go to another nation to be charged. Okay. Then they took Asar, because everybody, you couldn't get rid of Asar. Asar was the great black, the first king, you know, like that. And then they took Haru, higher consciousness, this concept, and all pull it into this one angelic being. Okay, so now they create, and they make him in the image of the white Greeks. So that's the key. There is no image of a white god here like that until this. In Egypt, in Kemet. So now they got a white god who's on parallel with Haru and Asar. So now we convert these Negroes, if I use the expression, you take the Kemetu and make them into Negroes. Negroes are not born, they are created, like Angel Food Cake and Stephen Fletcher. Okay, so you get the idea. So now they've created this whole Negro class, these Coptics, now who are following Serapis, and they began preaching on the corners. They're converting people over. And then there was a division, because as they start during the Nicene Conference, when they were developing the character of Jesus, the Africans had a problem. They said, no, we know this. This ain't true. All of this stuff, y'all just made this stuff up.
Right.
And so when Constantine asked for a vote on who's going to follow the new teachings, the Africans who rebelled were killed or ostracized. So he would say, okay, raise your hand if you disagree. And everybody who raised their hand, he would send his soldiers and then cut their heads off. So this was a bloody meeting. They don't tell you. You had heads all over the place at the meeting. Then he said, okay, we're going to have another vote. Now, how many of y'all are down for the new program? Okay. And then that's the real division of the Coptic Church. So the Coptic Church now moved into Ethiopia. So that's why Jesus, everybody got an afro.
This is the beginning of the beast system right here. They got you think it's coming into existence.
You know, you got to hold all the saints as black with afros and everything. So the Coptic Church moved into Ethiopia. The Coptic Church started in Egypt. So I need people to understand. Right now, it's the minority in Egypt and because of Islam. But the Coptic Church started in Egypt from Serapis and the continuation of that. And then you have the division. So now the Coptic Church became a total separate entity. Then the science stopped. We stopped having pre-scientists at that point. So the modern world doesn't create pre-scientists the way we did in ancient times. If you look at the pre-scientists in Asia, pre-Christianity and Judaism, the prototype all came from Kemet. So the Shaolin monk is a master in the martial arts, but he's a Buddhist priest. The Buddhist priests that you see in Thailand and all that, all are masters in the art. So it was all one package, the mental, physical, and spiritual. Those 5 domains I talk about were being kind of taught in the Kemetic spiritual system. So as it spread along Southern Asia, all those priests that later became Buddhists and stuff like that kept it intact. Their dress comes directly from Kemet. You know, the one arm out, you know. All of that comes out of ancient Kemet. Okay? So I need people to see that. Only when you have the modern day Christians and then Judaism, Islam comes out of Christianity. That's all. Right? So they still have the same old, they go by the Old Testament. They still believe in Moses and all of that, you know, they all of that. So I just need people to know. So when people ask, like, you're a pre-scientist, but you're doing martial arts, I'm saying no. To develop something and not be able to defend it is like not having it at all. You want to be able to walk through the jungle, walk through the rainforest with no fear, so that I can teach what I need to teach.
Okay. Any comments on that?
It's like colonizing when they came over there. They,
Exactly. Right. That's when they came. That's what Gabriel was telling Daniel. You gotta understand those when Gabriel came to Daniel, those four beasts that we dealing with, that we referencing, is after Israel became a nation. So Gabriel came and tell Daniel, these the four beasts, these the four nations that's gonna come on the scene after Israel became a nation. That's the reason why Assyria is not one of them, because Israel became a nation. When Israel became a nation, Syria was done away with. Nebuchadnezzar had done away with them. So Nebuchadnezzar was the first beast, Medes and Persians second, Greeks third, and the fourth beast, which we dealing with right now, is the Romans. That's the reason it's four beasts, because it's the people that came on the scene after Israel became a nation. That's why those beasts don't consist of all of history. It's just the history after Israel became a nation. And he's telling them what's going to happen, and we looking at it exactly how everything is playing out. Okay, so with that being said, I was going to open it up for some questions or comments or some dialogue. Anybody got any questions, comments, dialogue?
Brother Leonard, what's the name of that video you just played, sir?
It's how did Christians begin? How did Christianity begin? So the thing about that is, this guy is a he's a Egyptologist. He's dealing with Kemet. But the actual channel is Building 7.
Thank you.
You want to go to because he got a lot of more information too. So it's Building 7 is the name of
The channel.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It's spelled SE, the number 7 EN.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody got any comments on anything they want to talk about, or what we just talked about, or whatever?
Shalom. The when you talked about the Constantine and how they said if you don't believe in this white God, then you're going to be killed or ostracized.
Right.
So those ones that were ostracized, they went. What did they do? They went on to still say that there was no white God, that this was made up, or do we know anything about those that were ostracized? How did they continue on with what they did not believe in, what they believed, to spread it?
Right. So
Or do
you
we
have
know?
I don't mean to cut you off. So you got to go to. I got videos on YouTube channel, but it's a story that tied to this. But you have to understand what the time frame and what the story is all about. So I don't know if you ever heard of Athanasius. You ever heard of that guy Athanasius?
No.
Okay, so it's two guys. People don't tell you that, but like this guy was showing you the thing, the concept of a priest and a botanist and all that. It comes out of Egypt. So that mystery system they had in Egypt, 50 years. It take a man 50 years to become a high priest in Egypt. And it consisted of all the things that we dealing with now in our society, like mathematics and all that. It took them 50 years to be a master, to be a priest. So when you start talking about the Byzantine Empire and when Constantine brought all these monks and people together, them were black men, and they had the knowledge that came out of Egypt. Where it was two in particular, Athanasius, and then you had another monk. I can't think of his name, but they knew, both of them knew that they had created this Serapis from there. They had created him. He was a created being. He wasn't no God. They knew that. So when Constantine brought that council together, that that one priest said, "No, I'm not going for this. Yeah, we know you. He not no God. Y'all created him." But Athanasius went along with him. He's the house Negro, and the other guy was a field Negro. He wasn't going for it. So to this very day, Orthodox and the Orthodox and the Orthodox people came from Athanasius. He sided with the white folks. And that's how you get everything we got today. Christianity, Orthodox Judaism, all that came from Athanasius. The other one, they killed it. I can't think his name. It'll come to me in a minute, but that story right there is pretty much the history of the world at that time. Came from the decision that this black monk made, Athanasius, to sided with Constantine. Yeah. So anyway,
Thank you.
so you have to go back and I find the information, but you got to go back and deal with that story, and you'll see what everything branched off of that. Another good video to watch is the origins of Christianity by what's the guy name? Sir Francis Sir Walter Sir Francis what they call him? Yeah, I got to get there. It's been a minute since I dealt with it. It's a black guy. His name is Walter. I think Walter Riley, Sir Walter Riley. I think is his name. If you put it in YouTube, it's gonna come up. He break all that down. He break down the origins of Christianity and the origins of Islam. Okay, but this is what I want to
Thank
talk about. This I says I got this segment right here where I'm talking about. I'm asking, open up for questions and comments and dialogue. So what I want to deal with today is dialogue. Two things I want to deal with. And everybody that went through the school system know about this. So you got Ben Franklin, right? And Ben Franklin is considered the scientist. All these inventions. And so what Ben Franklin was doing was he was the type of person. I don't know if anybody's familiar with what a botanist is, but that's the person out there in the field with the magnifying glass, looking at the plants, doing, got all these different butterflies, he got them categorized, all that. That's what Ben Franklin was doing. Ben Franklin was doing. So not only Ben Franklin was doing it, John Dee was doing it. Isaac Newton, right? All these different men. The president Quincy Adams and his son, it was considered. Even George Washington Carver with the peanut, they considered botanists. They investigating the Most High's creation for as how the plants operate, how the animals operate, the breakdown of they organs and and all this stuff. So they got Ben Franklin way up on his big old pedestal, like he was all that. But what people don't know is that's who Adam is. So what they're doing is they copying Melchizedek. That's what Melchizedek was, a botanist. But they got you thinking that those two things is separate. So let's look at what they got, what they done, all the accolades they done put on Ben Franklin. But this is what Adam was doing. Let's look at it right quick. And we know Adam was a black man. So anyway, let's look at it. So all they doing, John Dee was a so-called warlock, a wizard, right? And back in during the time King James and all them, Sir Francis Bacon, he was a botanist. So you go to let me get it. Okay, go to chapter 2 of Genesis. Got Genesis chapter 2, verse 18.
Got it.
So it says in chapter 2, 18, the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone, I will make him a help me. Just Adam, right? And out of the ground, look at this, out of the ground, the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought him unto Adam to see. Look at this, brought him unto Adam. This the Lord of hosts brought him unto Adam to see what he would call him. See what Adam gonna call him. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all the cattle and to the fowls of the air and to every beast of the field. But Adam, there was not found Ben Franklin, John D, Isaac Newton, all they doing is fumbling with the Most High creation. Adam over here, Adam is a part of it. Adam giving names to him. So who the botanists? But they wanted to, they didn't shift it, the understanding of that away from Adam and his descendants. Okay, you see that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's what Adam was doing. But you see, Ben Franklin and all them, they didn't wind us up through 12 years in high school. They didn't want, in school, the school system got you, they didn't glorified all these men. Matter of fact, they got them on Mount Rushmore. But the focus is, that's what Adam was doing. And when these Gentiles came into Egypt, that's what this black man was already doing. It was botanists. They had already been figured all it out. Way before you get to Ben Franklin and Isaac Newton and all that. But we don't focus on that because they done led us all down another road to focus on all the wrong stuff. And so other thing is and this is major because the Most High always talking about you defile me, the Lord of hosts. Yahweh keep on saying you defile me, you defile my name among the Gentiles, right? So what is he talking about? So let's look at it. Ezekiel 30, Ezekiel chapter 1. Okay. This bead right here, Ezekiel chapter 1, right? And we see, we've been here before, chapter 1, this is when Ezekiel saw the cloud. And then he saw the Yahweh was in the cloud with these 4 angels. And I'm going to pick it up in verse 23. And under the firmament were their wings straight, with one toward the other. Everyone had 2, which covered on this side, and everyone had 2, which covered on that side, their bodies. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of a great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech, as the noise of a host. They stood, they let down their wings, and there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads, right? When they stood and they had let down their wings, right? It says, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of the throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne, here we go right here. Upon the likeness of the throne was the appearance of a man upon it. So this man, this Yahweh, in case you don't know. So he's telling you upon the throne was the likeness of a man. So this creator himself is the likeness of a man. That's the reason why all of us look the way we do. 27, and I saw as the color of amber, as appearance round about from within, and from the appearance of his loins, is Yahweh, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward, I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had a brightness about it. So what that's describing to you, it's a silhouette of a man. That's the image of Yahweh. That's the reason why the man is so feared. The man is feared because he got the image of Yahweh. So he says from his waist up with his waist down, he's pure fire, but he got the silhouette of a man. So we know in Book of Enoch, he created these 7 angels. The very first one he created was Michael from fire, from himself. He created Michael. He's the silhouette of a man. He came to Adam in Genesis 18. He got the silhouette of a man. He came walking in the cool of the day. So what do Michael mean? He who is like Yahweh. He's like Yahweh. He got the silhouette of a man. He's made from fire. Yahweh made from fire. So Most High keep the Lord of hosts keep on telling Israel and how we ended up over here. You keep on defiling me. You constantly defiling me amongst the Gentiles. So what is he talking about? The silhouette. That silhouette. Look at Frankenstein. When they show you the movie of Frankenstein, what Frankenstein got the image of? He got the image of a man, which is what? Yahweh, the image of Yahweh. So the imagination of a man mind, you concocted Frankenstein, that's defiling him. Zeus got the image of a man. He defiling Yahweh. JC, when they concocted JC, constantly, every day, 24/7, you defiling Yahweh. Because he got the silhouette of a man. So every day, constantly every day, you defiling him. If you don't understand that, you're being defiled every day. Serapis, Dracula, he got the silhouette of a man, constantly defiling Yahweh. He tell you in Genesis, in Revelations, when they concocted it, that the image of a man, and it made it talk. That's JC. That's at the council of Nicaea. They concocted JC and then made him in the image of a man, but he a God, and then wrote everything in red, made him talk. And made the image talk by putting everything in red. Every day, when you read that, every day, when you read that and you can absorb that ideology, you constantly follow him every day. That's what he's talking about. That's what got us kicked out over here. That image that you see, I just read in Ezekiel, is holy. Holy unto the whole world. That's why when you see Michael, you see him. He's made in his image. He was like Yahweh. Those other 6 angels. Even man, when he saw Adam, it's a holy image. All this stuff, the imagination of men's minds, since these Europeans came on the scene, even including the Israelites, they constantly follow him with all these, what they coming up with. He constantly being defiled. Ain't that something?
Yes,
So
so
Right.
go
Yeah.
ahead,
it's
Trace.
a lot of unlearning what they have done, because like you
Right.
say, each and every day, that if you continue to have this perception
Right.
that a man can be great like Michael, a man can be great like Yahweh, and you praising him like the Pope and Buddhists and all of these other religions, then you defiling Yahweh, you defiling
Exactly.
Michael, because you
Right.
constantly bringing that Satan into it, giving
Right.
him the power to persuade you and for you to do a act, whatever that act is, that is against God, well, Yahweh in the Most High.
Right.
Shalom. And I
Okay.
want to break it down to the modern times when now, these days, they have this thing called, they've got shows saying Candyman, Candyman. Well, they
Right.
have songs where you say Jesus, Jesus.
Right.
You have all these things. So by repeating it several times like that, you are really doing I think, a conjuring up a
Yeah.
spirit that is not, you know,
Not real,
real.
right? Right.
Right. And then you give them power to it. Like I said, I mean, look at the Giants and all that. They got the silhouette. That's holy. They got that silhouette, that image of Yahweh, because of where they originally came from the fallen angels. They have the image of the Most High. But it's defiled. And like I said, wicked as Dracula is. Wicked as he is, but he got the image of Yahweh.
Shalom.
Okay?
So this brought me to mind when I was saying the repeating the words. So by when they do that satanic things, they light a candle and they repeat a word several times.
Right.
Um,
Chant.
it can the chanting thing. So if someone when they do the happy birthday with a chant of birthday cake with the candles, blowing it out, circling around, all cakes may be square. They started out circled, but they got them squared now. So when they surround the table and light the candle and do the number of times of saying happy birthday, is that something that we should be aware of as a chanting happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, make a wish, blow the candles out? Meaning 1, 2, or 96 of those candles that be on the cake. So I was, that came to my mind when I said the repeating of a word and then
Right,
using candles.
right. So I'm gonna read this right here. As I said, it's let's look at it. There you go. So I'm in chapter 7 of Enoch. This how far this go back. It says, and all and, and all the others together with them, these fallen angels, took on them wives, each chose himself one, and they began to go into them and defile themselves with them, and they taught them. Here you go. They taught them charms, enchantments, cutting the roots, and made them acquainted with herbs. See that? That's where all this coming from. Like the chanting and all that came from the fallen angels body. That's how far it go back. So, like I was saying, Melchizedek, this wicked knowledge. This was in the school systems. So the knowledge that the angels, that those holy angels brought to Adam and his descendants didn't include this. This is how far this go back.
Shalom. Is it go back to the 6-day man in male and female, where, like I said,
Some of them.
some of
Okay,
it? Okay.
no, some of, not all the 6-day people, because if you go back to when the Israelites left Egypt, the mixed multitude, that's who the mixed multitude is that followed them out. When y'all, when you understand what happened in the beginning, he created the earth, the garden, all that, and then and the people he had people to earth. Then he created the man that ruled the earth, which was Adam and his descendants. So that's where the Melchizedek come in at. So these people that were 6-day people were subject to Adam until the 200 angels came. When 200 angels came, they ripped them away from the knowledge they was getting from Adam and his descendants and from Melchizedek. Until Michael showed up in Egypt, delivered the Israelites, and then this group is a remnant, the mixed multitude followed them out. They didn't want to be under the guidance of those giants and the fallen angels no more. They came out with the original teachers, you can say. A remnant followed them out.
Yes, sir.
Right. So yeah. When you understand that, you understand what's going on. That's the
Right.
reason. That's the reason Egypt is so revered to this day. That's what these angels came down there.
Right.
They made an oath on Mount Hermon first, but they came down to Egypt. That's why Egypt is so great. That's where these angels came down there. All this teaching that we seeing, they brought it to Egypt.
Right.
Right.
And when I first came into the truth and learning about all the pagan holidays and so forth, I started doing a lot of research on where did it originate from, right?
Right.
So birthday did, uh, shall we just say birth, because we don't added the day to it, uh, originated in Egypt. It
Right.
was not saying that. As far as bringing birth into the world, but they celebrate it as birth as a god.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so when you do research on all these
And woman.
holidays, right,
Mm-hmm.
like Valentine's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of that, you do all your research on that, you see how far it goes back and the reason why they did things. And again, we just have to unlearn a lot of things that we have learned because we have picked up those ways. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't cloak it. And
Hmm.
Shalom.
that's the significance of JC. he served a greater purpose than just they made him a god, but they cloaked all that with these fallen angels that talk, all that cloaked under that banner.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because Shalom, I just want to add, like you say, Sister Michelle, when you learn of all these pagan holidays, all of that comes with the price, and it comes with that spirit that it could be either the wicked spirit, like Brother Leonard was teaching us, or the Canaanite spirit. Because again, like you say, there's a difference in it. The ones that's never ever going to do right, and then those that at the end when judgment come could be changed. But Brother Leonard, if we go back to Genesis, as we have been learning, and how Adam was formed, and the rib had come out for Eve, and we look at the the man, but both of them, being first good, and then once Eve became beguiled, and the sin came upon her, and then Adam, and then him, and then they were cast away from the garden. The book you have asked us to get and read, that talks about the first and second of Adam and Eve in the garden, and it talks about I guess you want to say the first suicide, when they was so hurt by going against the Most High, and being beguiled there, they wanted to die. They felt so bad.
Right.
But then he told them that, that, and then they built him an altar, from their blood, and put some flowers, and then he ignited the fire, and it was a sweet smell. So he told them that, okay, for this, I see, he see your love, but, even though you did what you did, that's not going to come away from you. But I will then tell you that I will bless you, your lineage, in the end.
Right.
So they had another part to that, Brother Leonard, that talked
You talking about the book Adam and Eve?
the Christians, again, like you say, and we can take it all the way back, that how you showed us, these people who concocted, taking our three black peoples, the Zeus, the Asir, and Aru, and make
Right.
them a white god. But to take that and turn it around and make it a white god, instead of from who he was, black.
Right.
um they keep trying to go back to the old and bring it to the new, to confuse us, like that. But as we continue to get this, it's making more and more sense for us to look at these other books that were lost and hidden, to
Right.
clarify things, and to help us walk this way. You always have to go back to come forward, because of all of the things that they have changed, um, and so we can keep renewing our minds, because we do see all of this technology that comes to us. They're even with AI now trying to get you not to have a physical thing, but an electronic thing. And they're starting this with no more driver's license to be held. It'll be on your phone. It'll be just a digital picture on your phone that you could use, and they're going to start that with the airports. And then from there, taking every physical thing that you have, so that they can control it technologically, so it's a easy shut off and shut on. When you want to control the people, like Hitler, like you mentioned, how Hitler knew who we were, you have to take everything away from them, so that they come to you for it.
Right.
So like, again, we mentioned earlier on about the lender and the borrower. They make things seem like it's, you're doing something when you're not, because if they give you a cell phone, and now you like the cell phone, and you want to be on it every day, and all of this and this, you can't do anything if they cut the lines of communication off with that. So they sort of lend it out to you. You're borrowing it. And then when the time comes, they shut you off. And then now you're back to their every beck and call in order to get it again. So it's the trickery of what they do as the generations progress and the technology progress. We got to learn how to be a people who we were and are, that we depended on the earth. And that's how he created us, because he's going to give us everything. And if we depend on that and depend on the Most High to be our translator, in a sense, to the Most High, then we have to go back to come forward again and know how to, depend on this earth to give us, rather than the man. Stay away from the phone so much every time you want to get on the phone, or all of this technical stuff, because you're going to have to learn how to survive, because they will pull it away from you, because they know that you depend on it and that you want it, and that you have become addicted to it, and that's that controlling era of these that you talked about, Constantine, the Palamine, all of these supposedly great, Caesar and all of them. It was all about control, because when Samuel was kicked out of the heavens, he wanted the control that the Most High had. So in any facet of life, through any generation that we go through, they're looking for the control. Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yes, I believe it's like colonizing, like you were saying, Joyce. That's what they're doing with FEMA, controlling those people, giving us any kind of aid. Once they take it away, you are at their mercy.
Shalom. If I can make a comment, very valid points, Sister Joyce, but it comes back to, from the bottomless and everything she's saying, that there's nothing new under the sun. And it does apply. It's hard to imagine, but nothing new under the sun.
Exactly. Right. That's what
Shalom.
they use. That's what they're using against us. They've been doing that same thing, using that against us. Needs and wants. And you notice the prophets and our forefathers had mastered that, but they and getting emotional. That's what the Most High was talking about at the Tower of Babel. The imagination of men's mind, all that's incorporated in it. Needs and wants. You haven't mastered it. You're being manipulated because of your needs and wants, and because you're getting it. They get emotionally involved in things, but that's not what that wasn't part of our characteristics back in the day. But we've acquired that since we've been cast out over here amongst them. We easily manipulated by things around us, needs and wants, right?
Yes, sir. Not letting our wants outseed our needs.
Right. Exactly. So let me. I said the topic was in the room was the wounds of colonization. So I was going to play this right here because this is really out of the ordinary, based on what has been happening for the last couple of centuries. You got these certain particular group of Africans that's standing up.
So can you give us the name of the video?
This video right here.
Yes, sir. And I could probably be looking on. Yes, sir.
Right. If you don't behave, we're going to use force. That's what these Africans telling the West now. If you don't behave or treat them right, we're going to use force.
And the military bases that you see here is telling you that if you don't behave, we are going to use force. Sometimes I wish, and I'm saying this seriously, that we too had a nuclear weapon, because that is what Europe and America understands. We are now in a neo-colonial stage when the European powers are at their most diabolical, when The Americans are at their most diabolical. And it's not lost on me that they'll be meeting in Hiroshima next week as the G7. And how do they interfere? They interfere militarily. They ensure that you in the military are trained in Sanders, are trained in West Point, so they affect your mind. They have interfered diplomatically, sometimes through gunboat diplomacy. And that is why you see sometimes your typical European ambassador treats our heads of states in a condescending manner. They interfere through institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank. They interfere by ensuring that our economic infrastructure is beholden to theirs through dollarization. They interfere through education. They interfere by influencing our processes, by lending us advisors who tell us what to do. The neo-colonial project is alive and well, and it is at its most dangerous, and we Africans must smell the coffee. If we don't, they are going to continue to interfere. How else do they interfere? Through NGOs, Danida, CEDA, UKAID, USAID. These are Trojan horses that are introduced into our countries for the purpose of influencing our processes. And they infiltrate our institutions. Right now, if you look at the African Development Bank, look at the shareholding. It's Americans, it's Germans, it's Japanese, it's the French. And the Europeans have done their bit. They also interfere through post-colonial institutions, the Commonwealth of independent nations. They are not sovereign states, former French-speaking nations. These are the instruments that they interfere through. And how do we then deal with this situation? We Africans must now begin to recognize, and this was recognized as early as 1963, and the chair of the commission is here. They'll be celebrating 60 years in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And 60 years ago, on the 24th day of May, Kwame Nkrumah warned us. He said, if we are not united, they are going to interfere with us militarily. They are going to interfere with our economy. They are going to interfere with our agriculture. They are going to interfere with our health. Our duty, and I hope that when African heads of states and government meet in Addis next week, it will not be another jamboree at which pro forma speeches are read. I hope it will be an occasion to give meaning to Africa Agenda 2063. I hope it will be an occasion to give meaning to Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I hope it will be an occasion to revitalize the Malabo Declaration, the Maputo Declaration, the Yamoussoukro Declaration. In other words, we Africans, as I conclude, we Africans must stop operating in silos. Rwanda alone will not confront them. Burundi alone will not confront them. But if we go through the regional bodies and ultimately the African Union, we may indeed succeed in putting away this bulwark. And remember, it is no longer just Europe. There is a new scramble for Africa. The Chinese are here. The Turks are here. The Qataris are here. All of them are coming back. First of all, when we talk the way we do, we are not.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Is he making any sense?
Yes, sir. They're making sense. They trying to get over there because they know this is where it's going to end up. So they trying to put their little stakes down, excuse me, so they'll think they'll have a part. Because just like with, if we go back to the garden, even though he was cast down on earth, excuse me, Samuel, you know, he still always thought he could have a up one on the Most High. So he going to take it to the end. Even though he know that's where when the Most High returns, that's where he's going to be, and that's he's going to gather the people and be there. he's trying to get there, so he thinks he has another one up that he can because he knows the end, already, but he still want to use as many people as he can to go with him to do this fight at the end, which is not going to be a fight.
Right, right. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about the silhouette and defiling the Most High. Well, we know that Adam was made in his image. Well, Satan had no regard for man. So it's quite natural his children are going to be the same way. They have no regard for this man that he left in charge of the planet. They have no regard for him. That's why we continuously being just like when we being disgraced and disrespected, y'all being disgraced and being disrespected. And so a lot of people don't understand the significance of that. That's where the disrespect coming from. We made in the image of Yahweh. And so when you go to Psalms 83, and you're looking at, he says that she was reading it earlier about they came together, the nations came together to do away with the nation of Israel and the name. Well, what's the name? The Lord of Hosts, Michael. That's the whole purpose of JC. Denigrate the image of the Most High. He told them in Exodus 23 and 20 that this angel I sent before you, my name is in him, which is the image. He's in the image of me. Listen to him. Obey his voice. He's the one that's dealing with sin. He's overseeing. So that's where all that's coming from. They don't have no regard for the things of the Most High. It came from these fallen angels. And then we know Satan has a seed line, but now only him, those other 200 got seed line. And they have no respect for Most High, his creation, the image of the Creator. They have no respect for it. That's where all the drama coming from. Okay. Anybody else got any comments before we go? Okay. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Good.
awesome class.
Good.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna say shalom. I'll see everybody at 6 o'clock for our evening Sabbath class. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.